recording now in case Lori isn't able to hop on. So obviously, you know, anything we talk about, if anyone shares anything private, I mean, we all are adults, we know how that works, like don't share it. But you're free to share like what you're learning or what you're doing, that's totally fine, but it's not what other people are talking about. But again, no expectations to share anything you don't want to talk about. Feel free to be like, cut me off if I'm talking like, hey, I got a question about that. Because even though like I'm going to share some stuff, I want it to be interactive. And in the end, like we'll have some time to discuss or talk about stuff. The calls will be like an hour, give or take. Sometimes they can be a little bit shorter, but sometimes they're a little bit longer, but they're roughly about an hour depending on what's going on. And then, like I said, I just want to keep a static weekly call. If this isn't a good time, we can adjust it. Sundays typically aren't that great for me because we're busy on week. Like Jason plays baseball like every weekend, and it seems like when I get home, I'm just like not in the frame of mind to be doing this. So Monday nights work good for me. And I like it to be the beginning of the week so that you can kind of like focus on your week, set the stage for the week, whatever you're kind of focusing on, which I'll help you get some clarity on, because I know some of you are like, I don't really know what I want my direction. That's totally fine. But we are going to work a lot on mindset, especially the first few weeks, to get your mind frame in the right frame of mind, while also kind of developing like, okay, this is, you know, kind of what I'm wanting to accomplish for myself. And maybe it's just getting yourself to taking good care of yourself. Maybe it's, you know, accomplishing a specific goal with like your business, or maybe it's something specific with trying something new, or maybe it's like a bigger life change thing that you're working on or thinking about, or it's in the back of your mind, or it's something that's nagging you. Maybe it's a bigger dream. Maybe you don't know. I don't know. So hopefully this will give you a little bit more clarity as to, you know, just kind of feeling good about the direction you're going, and also just like taking good care of yourself, you know, with your mindset and physical and everything else like that. So during the week, I'll post the recording of the Zoom, and I might post organically just some things that revolve around what the topic was of the week. And then I will privately just touch base with you during the week. So that's kind of what it will look like during the week, but otherwise there's no like expectations or anything like that. Should be low expectations. If you're busy on a Monday night, don't worry, you can catch the recording, but make sure you watch the recording, just, you know, so that you can stay on top of what we're doing. Cool. Anyone have any questions or things they want to? Okay. All right, cool. So you guys kind of met each other on in the group. Anyone in here you don't know, Jen is probably the one that some people don't know. I know Nicole, Melissa know Jen. And then Stephanie, do you know Kaylee? You know Kaylee, right? Stephanie Lewandowski? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And
yeah, we were roomies. We were roomies the first time we went to Summit together.
Yeah. So, Jen, did you ever go to Summit? I can't remember if you told me you did.
This was going to be the first year that I was going to go to Summit, and that didn't work out. I'm still hesitant to actually buy a ticket for next year.
Oh, really? Oh, I bought mine. St. Louis is awesome.
Well, I missed the 130, like the really good deal, but I might buy it in the next round. I don't know.
I think you'll get it for like 150. It won't be a big deal. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll still buy it, and I'll still plan to go. Yeah.
It's so much fun. At the very least, it's a really great girls' week and bonding and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, and it's good location too. I mean, kind of like Louisiana was. St. Louis was. I mean, I'm not sure about St. Louis, but geographically speaking, it's not a bad location. I can go see my family too.
Oh, that would be perfect. See, it's driving distance for us Michiganders, so that'd be cool. Okay, all right, so this week we're going to talk about like belief system, like where your mindset is with belief in yourself, because there is a process of where belief starts and then action down the road, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But truly, 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 I know this sounds like cliche, but if you don't at your core believe in whatever you're wanting to accomplish, even if it's as simple as like getting in shape, or as simple as getting your finances together. When I say simple, I don't mean easy. Simple as in like you know what you need to do. Not easy always, but the belief system that you have in your mind is going to determine, the biggest determinant as to whether or not you're going to accomplish what you're going to do. And I know you guys all know that, but I also want you to recognize, like, it's something you really need to let yourself soak in, understand that at the core, you need to believe that you can accomplish it and that it's possible. Because literally every single successful person that's ever existed, I mean, we were all born with the same exact qualifications in life, right? Granted, we have different families and upbringings and experiences and things like that, but we all have the same capabilities in life, truly. Granted, we all have different strengths and weaknesses, but the difference between someone like Oprah Winfrey or like Michael Jordan or someone along those lines who are very successful is that deep down core belief and desire to want whatever it is that you want. And that core belief is the biggest determinant for success in any area of your life, no matter what it is. Relationships, that is the single most important thing. I don't know if you guys watched that whole Michael Jordan series. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I can't remember what it was called. I was obsessed with it. Granted, I was a basketball player.
We just started watching it yesterday.
Oh my gosh, I loved it because Michael Jordan's mindset is like, I will do whatever it takes. Granted, he would get a little tough on his teammates, but whatever it takes, because he had that core belief. He knew he was he knew he had what it took, and he worked his butt off, you know. And it's kind of that same mentality, not that you have to do what he did, but that belief system was core and super important to him. So so no matter what, like, society's led you to believe, experiences, relationships, whatever it is, you, or whatever place you are in your life right now, you have what it takes to do whatever you want to do in your life. So it's like really believing that, that whatever comes your way, you can figure it out. You're going to figure it out. So really, it's important that you just kind of, and we're going to talk about some strategies to get to that place tonight, but I want this to be, this is the baseline for everything. And some of you have done my life coaching know that, you know, we've worked a lot on like switching that mindset belief, you know, it's switching the sort of that tape recorder that we sometimes have in our brain and we don't even realize we have it, of certain things we might say to ourselves, and switching it to something different that becomes more automatic. And that's really a big piece of it. So some other basics that I want to talk about is obviously recognizing and believing that you can in whatever that you're wanting to accomplish. And also, if I say something that you may have heard before, I want to challenge you to think about it differently. And like, instead of saying, I've heard this before, think about how can I apply this to my life where I'm at right now? And think about that application. Because even if you've heard something before, like let's say a year ago or 2 years ago, your life was different then, how is it going to apply differently now? And re-challenge yourself, because even some things that I, you know, learn or read about and I may have heard before, it's important that I look at it differently. And how can it challenge me now? What, maybe I've fallen off the wagon with mindset stuff or, you know, things like that. Just even earlier today, Ava and I went and played sand volleyball with a friend of mine and her daughter and Ava are in the same class. And I found myself saying, oh man, I suck. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what am I saying? I'm saying this out loud. And it's something that's going back into my ears. And also Ava's hearing it. So it's just like, I caught myself and heard myself. And I'm like, oh, got to change that, because it's going to become more rote if I do those type of things. So untraining your mind, it can be tricky, but just think about how you can adjust, how it will work for you now. Try new things. I want you to be open to trying new things, open to, you know, not doing the same thing over and over again, because what you may have tried before may not have worked. Some of it may have worked, you know, so balancing, figuring out those things, the things that weren't working, we need to kick it to the curb and try some new things. So having an open mind and having fun with it. And then don't shortchange yourself. You know, a lot of people get stuck in this rut of like having a plan, it looks great on paper, and then readjusting the plan, and then I'm going to do this, and then, but they don't take the action. sometimes the action is what's going to fuel what's going to be important to you. So when you take the action first, and then the best way I can relate to it is when I started as a Beachbody coach, I had no idea what I was doing, but I dove in and didn't know what I was doing. And I figured it out as I went along and learned things, and I also got clarity about what I needed to do. So sometimes when you're like, have an idea, go do it. If you have an idea that you're excited about, it needs to be something you're excited about, go for it. Just go for it, and you'll figure out the details later. I'm a firm believer in that, as opposed to creating this beautiful laid out thing and then you over analyze it, and then the mindset starts going, okay, well, no, maybe I can't do that. No, forget it. I'm okay. And then you start making the excuses for yourself, and then, all those different things happen. That is normal and natural. We all do it. But I think that's what happens a lot. So, if you have something that you're really passionate about, you want to try it, do it. Just go for it. And, what's the worst thing that can happen? You learn something new. So I don't know if you've heard this statement before, whatever follows I am. When you say I am, XYZ is what will be. So really want you to start paying attention to the words coming out of your mouth. Like I said earlier, when I said those things, caught myself, and I'm like, oh, that awareness is really important, because you're going to start saying things that are going to stick in our brain. So what we say to ourselves is the same as if I started saying it to Christy, like, Christy, you suck. Or you are terrible at whatever. It would be really offensive to her, and it would probably stick with her for a while. And so we have to think of that about ourselves when we say those things to ourselves. Think about it as if someone else was saying it to us. It's not good. It's not right. It's not a nice thing to do to yourself. So start catching yourself when those words start coming out or those thoughts come into your head. Think of it as if your best friend or partner said it to you. You would be ticked, and you need to be ticked at yourself if I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay. So really start paying attention to that. And start paying attention to the things that are going into our ears. So, and this is really big. Pay attention to the shows that you're watching, because the quality of shows that you watch, that's what's going inside your head. The books that you read, the music that you listen to impacts our mood and the thought patterns we have, the people you surround yourself with, just the things that are surrounding your life. So I want you to kind of start thinking about those things, considering if they are filling your brain with the things that you need it to be filled with. Hey, Jen, yay, another Jen's on. So consider that, and some different ways that you can create some positivity. Hey, Greg, will you get the dog? She's whining. And we've talked about this in previous life coaching sessions, is, like even in my office, I have statements up that are positive, and they're things that I look at every day. I don't just look at it, read it. If you have a space in your room, in your house that is just for you, or if you don't, that's fine too. If you have a notebook, my planner has like positive quotes in it, and they're all fine and great, but make sure you're reading it and saying it. You could change the background of your phone to something super positive, something that's affirming, and things along those lines. So just some things to kind of consider and pay attention to. And recognize that everything that has ever occurred in life started as a thought. So when we think about like electricity, for example, a long time ago, that was just a thought. And now it has turned into this massive, amazing thing that we believe we couldn't live without. Hold on, I'll let the dog out because I don't think Greg heard me. Here, dog's whining, here she is. So never believe that any thought or some dream you have that's just kind of like, I don't know if I want this. Don't ever poo-poo it, because a thought is there for a reason. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. What generally happens when we have a thought, like, I don't know, the thought about going for a run. I'm going to go for a run tomorrow. What kind of feeling do I have as a result of it? Depends on the day, probably, right? Excited because I haven't gone for a run in a while. I actually went on a run last week, so I was like, okay, it'll be nice to get out in the fresh air, a good feeling. With that feeling, typically comes a behavior. If I have a good feeling about running, I'm going to go running. And then the result is I get a little bit better shape. Okay. So, Nicole, if you had that thought, okay, so let's say for Nicole, she had the thought about running, and then her feeling about it is I might die. The result probably is she's probably not going to go for a run, right? No, it totally impacts the result of your behavior. And so it's something that's really, especially in this weather, it's really hot. But it's true, like the thoughts we have fuel the feelings we have, which fuels the behavior we have. So everything that we do starts with a thought, and even before the thought is the belief. So the core belief we have at the core of our gut is really where it all starts. The belief comes, the thought comes, the feeling comes, the behavior, then the results. Okay, so really going to work on the belief piece of it. And beliefs are things that we know with absolute certainty. Now, you might have some things that you created some belief system based on how you were brought up, maybe how you were, experiences that you went through. Maybe you've chosen certain belief systems, whatever it might be, whether it's like a religious belief system, or maybe it's a belief about humanity, maybe it's a belief about women or men, or a belief system about what you're capable of, a belief system of, how children should behave, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We all have core beliefs that have developed over the course of nature and nurture. Okay, so through the both. Most of it's nurture, though. Most of it comes from the way we were raised and the experiences we've gone through and the things we've chosen to believe as a result. And generally speaking, the beliefs we have, we believe it's with absolute certainty. So stay with me here. So with that in mind, the things that we believe with absolute certainty, if we're able to shift our belief about whether we're capable of doing something or not, and we start believing that with absolute certainty we are capable of doing that, that can change the behavior pattern moving forward. So that shift right there of that belief system with absolute certainty, I know that I can XYZ, you will change the pattern of things, because it will change your thoughts about it. It will change your thought pattern about, I don't know, I just keep thinking Beachbody coaches because we're full of Beachbody coaches. Change your thought pattern about Beachbody coaching, which is going to change your feeling about it. And when your thoughts and your feelings change, your behavior is going to change and your results are going to change. Or whether it's with a new job or a new relationship or a fitness, whatever it is, it's going to change it, because at the core it's changing. So that's what we're going to really focus on a lot of time on. There is actually, and you may have heard this, there's some, and those of you in the medical field, Kaylee's in the medical field, and Jen is in the medical field. There's been some placebo type of studies out there. There's one that I read about where these people knowingly went in and knew that they were people who had problems with their knee, and they went in for a knee surgery, and they knew they would either get a placebo, like they wouldn't get an actual surgery, and then some would. And the results were crazy, because some people that had the placebo or didn't actually get the surgery had were starting to feel better, or there were some positive results from it. So it's interesting how powerful the mind is when you believe it. So they believed at their core that they got the surgery, and so their knees started getting better. So it's amazing how much our mind impacts so many things when you believe it at the core. So as a result of this, what I want you to get from this is that Your belief system truly is a choice. You can change what your core beliefs are. It takes time and consistency. And there's some core beliefs that you don't want to change, but there's some that you're going to want to change. And most of it's going to be around what you're capable of, what your capacity is to accomplish in your life. So just recognize that whatever you have, whatever belief systems you have that you want to change, you can change them. It's very possible. You can change your thought patterns about yourself. You can change your thought patterns, what your capacity is, your capabilities, what you're able to accomplish. That is possible. So we're going to be working on that. We're going to be working on fears. We're going to be working on action, because every week I'm going to have action for you guys. Some things that I want you to work on through the week. Journal. You're going to want to write down the things and also follow up with some of the behaviors. So this is what's going to happen. Well, first off, before I go into the assignment, questions, thoughts, feelings, ideas, what's coming across your minds?
So going back to the whole, believing in, the mind is so powerful. Like, it goes both ways. Like, thinking positive things, like, it really, it definitely can change, and you can have amazing results. And like, thinking negatively too, like, it so quickly, like, just brings you down. Like, it brings you down quickly. But one of the things that we kept talking about is like focusing like on believing and trusting that you can accomplish whatever you kind of put your mind to. I didn't always have that mindset, but after what I, in my family, particularly like myself, just thinking from my own personal, what I've been able to accomplish in the past 2 months is freaking mind-blowing. Like, when I really sit back and I think about it, and I've been still so caught up in it, and like, even right now, because we don't get our pod until Friday, so things are still in flux. We're not settled. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
But instead of complaining about it and being down and negative about it, like, I'm trying really hard to really just think back and like, this decision that we made was just made 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. And look at all that we accomplished and everything. So that's something that I'm keeping in the forefront of my mind during this course. Like,
right.
Because compared to the last time I had a course with you, my mind is, things have changed tremendously.
Yeah, lots of things we've had a course.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like as a direct kind of result as from taking that course, because during that time I had put together, like, these were the true desires that I had. These were the true goals that I had. And I didn't even realize what I was actually making them happen. Like,
coming to fruition.
Yeah, it was like crazy. And now that things are slowing down, I'm really sitting back and just like really thinking about all of it. And like, I need to get back into the journaling so that I can really write this all down and everything. But that's what's in the forefront of my mind.
That's where confidence is born, is when you set out to do something and you do it. I mean, how powerful does it feel? You've accomplished some things more than just that, though. I mean, you've accomplished a bunch of things over the last.
Yeah.
You dropped a bunch of weight. You've been working on your fitness and your health. You've worked on so many things. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things that it's just like, yep, I can do this. I'm strong. I'm powerful. It changes your core. Like, I can do,
The weird thing is, when I made that list and went through that course, I didn't believe it at the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm making this list. These are things that I would really hope for. But I at the time, I felt, even telling I even felt to myself like, it's just another pipe dream. I can't make this happen. Yeah. But we did. And like, sitting back, I need to really sit back and reflect on that, like, and really soak that in, so that it really reinforces that. Because if I can accomplish that, what else can I do?
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's really coming down to, a thought in my mind, if I feel strong about it and I am excited about it, I can do it. So, and one of the assignments that we did, and this is, I'm going to have you to redo it, Jen, because this is a really good one for everybody. One of the things I'm going to have you do is I want you to think back a year back from today. Remember when we did this one? So today is July 20th. I don't even know what date it is anymore. July 20th. July 20th, 2019. You don't have to know the exact date, but what was going on in your life? What things were going on that were different from what are now? So it's going to allow you to see how you've grown. And then more importantly, that's just a reflection thing. But more importantly, what I want you to do, and this is going to help with the clarity, because I know Stephanie was talking about I need more clarity. I want you to think a year from now, what would ideally my life look like? And this is going to help you have a little bit of clarity as to where you want to go. So paint a picture, whatever it might look like. And it's not just you, it might be your family. It might be, you know, what's going on in your environment, like might be job related, it might be relationship related. The sky's the limit. Maybe it's something that you were thinking about, like, this would be really exciting if I did X, Y, Z. Put it down. Like, there's no pressure to it. Don't feel like if I write this down, this means I have to do it. Let your mind go and kind of dream a little bit about what it would be really cool if a year from now this was going on. Like, I'm in kick-ass shape and I'm doing X, Y, Z with my business. Maybe I'm looking at a different job because this job isn't making me feel great, or maybe this relationship isn't looking so great. I really want to have a relationship that makes me feel this way, or maybe our family is going on vacations. I don't know, whatever it might be. Those are just ideas. Just kind of envision it. So that's part one of the thing I want you to do. And that's going to help. That's kind of one of the things that Jen did before that I think helped with that process to get your mind thinking. And you're not necessarily going to believe it right away, like that you might be able to accomplish it. But this is just step one, to be able to see and think and just kind of imagine and dream a little bit. And with that, this week's assignment's a little bit long, sorry, but it's important. With that, on the next page or wherever you want to write it, I want you to write down all the nasty, negative, self-limiting beliefs that come into your mind by accomplishing, like when you think about those things. What things come into your mind? And let it just free flow. Don't overthink it. Just whatever you write down, you write down. Okay, whatever self-limiting beliefs come. And I'll write all this down and put it in the group. I'll type this all out in case, like, you don't get it all. So all those self-limiting beliefs, those thoughts like you aren't smart enough, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough money, or you don't feel like you're capable, or you don't have enough support, or I'm too XYZ, whatever it is, those beliefs, I want you to write them down because I want you to start being aware how toxic they are, but also that they just do happen. They're going to happen the rest of our lives, but we are just trying to improve it a little bit. And what you're then going to do is you're going to next each self-limiting belief, you're going to write down something like evidence as to why it's not actually true. Make a statement. It needs to be true though. I don't want you to just make up baloney. Like, I want you to think about, why is it not accurate, that self-limiting belief? And I want you to write a short statement next to it. Like if it was like, I'm not smart enough, write down reasons why you are smart enough. You are smart. You know, you've accomplished X, Y, Z. You've done this, you've done that, whatever it is you need to write. And make sure you write down why it's not true. Because that belief system, this is part of the core belief system. When you've been saying those negative thoughts, you believe it at your core. That's what's happening. Like, I'm not smart enough. I'm just using that. I don't know. It's just coming to my brain. I'm not smart enough. You believe it to your core, but is it really true? No, it's not really true. So you've got to retrain your mind and your brain a little bit here. So by writing down why it's not true. You've got to retrain your brain to start telling yourself the truth instead of telling yourself lies, because those lies are fueling behaviors and thought patterns and feelings that aren't helping you. So this is really important to do this and spend a little bit of time doing this. And after that, kind of think of a statement, something that really inspires you, makes you feel great about yourself. I always think about the old Saturday Night Live. Who was the guy who was like, I'm smart enough, people love me. Do you remember, what was it? He's talking in the mirror. It was super stupid. That's what I always think of. Don't be corny, but think of something that like really inspires you and makes you feel really great about yourself. Like, I'm a really amazing mom. Like, whatever it is, like, and give yourself reasons. I'm an amazing mom, and I work really hard to make my kids feel loved and comforted, and I work really hard at my job. Whatever it is, like, write some, and I want you to read it every day. I want you to, like, when you get up in the morning and before you go to bed, just make sure you're reading it and letting it sink in, because this is part of the process. Some of the girls that went through my stuff before, some of this is a little bit of a repeat, but it will be shifting, believe me, but this is important. This is really important for doing this, so make sure you do that. And then I want you to imagine what life would be like without those belief systems, without those thoughts or feelings. If you started to believe that you are super smart and you are super capable and you are, able to learn new things. I think that's one of my self-limiting beliefs, is struggling with social media. God, yeah, I'm too old for this. I do that. So that's actually just kind of became clear to me right now that I do that a lot. And that's a self-limiting belief. Am I fully capable of learning new things on social media? 100%. Just because I'm 42 doesn't mean I can't learn like a 23-year-old. So that would be something that I would be working on, is working through that. And what would life feel like if I didn't talk to myself that way or believe that at the core? It would feel different. And how would it feel if you stepped into this woman? So I want you to imagine it. It's like an envision. It's like a, can't think of the word. Just envision yourself stepping into this woman. Like, you're literally stepping into this woman that's already powerful, strong, capable. And imagine this woman a year from now doing certain things, which is going to help with the clarity piece. Stephanie, we lost Stephanie Lundowski, because that was one thing she was struggling with, was clarity. And if clarity is something you're struggling with, spend some time on that. Like, just thinking about what an ideal life would be like a year from now. What would it look like? And imagine yourself stepping into this person, successful at your job, working out every day, whatever it is. Just imagine what that would be like and what it would feel like. So this is really kind of like a whole process of working on your belief system. So from this point forward, I want you to read those, after you develop that statement, read those statements morning and night. It needs to become a pattern. I know some people do. Is anyone in here still doing like journaling, doing gratitude journals or anything like that? Does anyone do that in here right now? Yep, so perfect. And you doing that every day is working on that you're working on that every day by doing that in and of itself. And then adding in just like a nice positive statement about who you are becoming or who you already are. It's not even really who you're becoming. It's just stepping into this person. It's just changing your behavior. That's all it is. Does anyone in here have clarity about what it is they're really wanting to focus their energy on? Does anyone have clarity right now? If you don't, it's totally okay. Anyone that has clarity that they want to share?
I'll share.
Yay!
So I've been a Beachbody coach since May of last year. I've got 8 customers on me, but I started it with these great dreams and goals and everything, thinking I was going to hit it amazing. But I never really put all of my effort into coaching. I had great success personally, with my personal journey and everything. But over the last couple of months, I had shifted my priorities and what I wanted to do. So now that those priorities have been, I've met them, now of course I'm on to the next thing. So I want to fully dive into my coaching and really genuinely build that team, because
Oh,
the whole purpose of doing the coaching part was because I was looking for an outlet to help people. Because, I was trying to do the nursing school thing. That isn't the thing for me. May go back to it, but right now, that's not where my path is going to lie. I'm also getting too old. I'm physically too old to go into nursing. I mean, it just, my mother, my mom is a nurse. She finished nursing school when she was 50, and she's like, I was too damn old. I don't know what I was thinking. It's
we got
just,
2 nurses on here.
yeah, she's like, it's just too much. But I genuinely, I do want to help people. I want to see people get results. And so now I had so many limiting beliefs as to why I wasn't worthy, why I wasn't capable, why I was holding myself back. I have many, many reasons. So I'm very clear on my reasons. So that's something I want to start working on and focusing on getting that out. Thank you. So that's definitely one of the areas. And then there's another area that, kind of going back to one of the fears that I had, one of the exercises that you had us do was like, okay, well, what is life like when you get to that point, to where your goals are, and which is, will it be enough? Will at then that point, will I be happy? Will I be satisfied? And I've proven to myself in this whole process that no, I'm not there yet. And so genuinely, I need to sit and focus on, okay, I have this drive to always be doing something. Like, I've got to always be working towards something, bettering myself, bettering whatever it is that I'm, my environment. So, and that's great. That's the type of person I am. But it's driving my family nuts that I'm constantly, like, I never just chill. So that's something I need to learn to do.
I don't either.
But I just feel like I'm not happy if I'm not in a state of I'm doing something.
Mhm.
So I need to learn to balance.
There is some balance there, but there's also just, that's part of who you are too. Like learning to chill some, but it sounds like you're a mover and a shaker anyway. Like, so some of it's acceptance and some of it is also like, yeah, learning to chill a little bit, but also being okay with, because it's awesome that you're constantly working on something. I think it's
And
a great thing.
that's the point where I'm at. Like, I am happy with this. I'm happiest when I'm working towards things. I'm happiest. That is truly when I'm happiest. It makes me feel good. So that's something that I need to be comfortable with and confident with, and be like, this is who I am. This is how I am. And we just,
Right.
Right.
So, well, I think
those are my 2 areas.
I think that's a good revelation too, because like, also a lot of people get stuck in the rut of like, when I get to XYZ, I'm going to be happy now. That part of it is just the process of doing this, feeling good. And this isn't about this. I don't want you guys to get it mixed up that this is about reaching this ultimate goal. Yes, I want you to start going in the direction of where you want to be, but it's really changing your belief system about who you are. In and of that, doing that is going to change your feelings about life and about yourself. And that's the bigger change. So it's important to recognize that by reaching this ultimate goal or whatever it is not like the key to happiness. The key to happiness is changing your belief system about what you're capable of. And I always think of like, thinking of really successful people in the world that I admire. I always think of Oprah Winfrey. I just admire her. I think she's pretty cool. And just like where she came from and what she accomplished. is incredible. I mean, it's massively incredible. And that what makes her different from me? I'm not saying I want to be what she is, but I'm just saying, like, what makes her, there's no difference in anything, truly, in anything we decide to do in our lives. And so I always kind of reframe that for myself. And it helps kind of keep things in perspective, like, how is she different from me? Or like a successful business person, someone who's really successful with Beachbody, for example. How is that person any different from me? I have a little onlooker right there. And there really is no difference. It's really, truly really at the core believing that there's no difference, and that your capacity and capability to do it is there. It's just you have to be open to learn new things and be willing to fail and all of those things. So anyway, that's my spiel about that. Does anyone else have any other, we were talking about clarity a little bit, Stephanie. If anyone had any other things they're feeling like they really want to accomplish over the course of this time, if you're willing to share right now, but I will ask next week for sure, because I'm going to ask you about what this picture of yourself in a year from now. I will ask you guys on the Zoom next week, but if you have something right now that you already know that you want to share, or something you really want to accomplish that you want to share, feel free to. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. Because I'll find out from you privately.
Yeah, yes, you will.
Say again. Oh, what you want to accomplish through the course of the next 6 weeks. What are you hoping to gain from it? If you have a very specific goal in mind, that's great. If you don't, that's great. That's either way is fine. I was just curious if anyone had any thoughts, any other thoughts that they want to share. And I'll share mine.
I want to stick with it, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to make sure I'm doing all the stuff every week.
Okay.
That's where I tend to fall off. So.
Well, this is how I changed this course, was I added a piece of accountability and making sure, you guys are doing, that's why I added the assignment piece in. Sometimes I did assignments before, but, and then following up with you guys to make sure you guys did it. So that's what I added differently, because you did bring it up to me, Stephanie. You're like, I just need some accountability. All right, I'll add that.
I do. Well, and the timing is really good for me, because we just, I just got through the big party.
Yes, you did.
And so I'm like, I did. So hopefully I'll have some time to focus on other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And quite frankly, this year, 2020, has been a whack-a-mole crazy year. I don't even know what to say about it. So I think all of us, it was like, woo, okay, where it lands. But I feel like now I'm hoping the second half of 2020 settles, but really recognizing where can we gain some control in our own lives, because so many things have been out of our control, pretty much everything that's going on in society. And so I felt like this is a good time for all of us, like myself included, because I'm telling you, in the spring, it was tough for me. And just all of a sudden having to do homeschooling and then also doing my social work and business stuff. And I was just like, So for me, I'll share what I'm hoping to accomplish through this is just recognizing that I tend to, this is what happens with me. I tend to, when I get an idea, I go full force, full speed ahead. And with my family life situation, I want to rein that back and recognize what are the things that I want to accomplish within reason. And that's why I chose, I'm going to do a 6-week course. I can do this and I will do this with full, being able to put all of myself into this. Without having to compromise time with the kids. So that was really a big thing is learning how to balance. I know balance is not a favorite word. It's for a lot of people, they're like, no, there's no such thing as balance. Well, for me, there is. Like, I feel like there needs to be some balance for me where I spend time with my kids, where I'm focused on them, and then time when I'm really focusing on life coaching, and then also kind of bringing my Beachbody business back to life. So that's been a focus of mine for the last month or so too. And then fitness has been a big thing. Like, I've just been really excited about lifting and stuff like that. So just making those things a priority for myself, spending and focusing the time that I want to spend on it and not spreading it out through my day. So that's really a focus of mine right now, and recognizing that I am capable of that, that I don't have to be less of a mom just because I'm focusing on stuff for myself. And that I think I struggle with a lot is like, I'm not good enough because I'm doing other things for myself. You know, I think a lot of moms struggle with that too, though. All right, anyone else have any other things they want to share? Or what I'll do is I'm going to type out the assignment for the week. I am going to, the assignment, you're not graded, but I am going to follow up with you. Like I said, just kind of maybe turn your notifications on for the Mind, Body, Soul Life coaching group, because that's where everything's housed. I will put it in a unit so that if you want to go to it, you can kind of find it. And then the calls will be in there. I may organically, oh gosh, Nicole, there's a button in there. Does anyone know how to give her directions? I'll figure it out, and just poke around.
So if you go to the group, like if you go to that page, to the Mind, Body, Soul page, up at the top in the right corner, there's usually like 3 buttons, like 3 little dots. If you click on that, it'll come up and it'll show notifications, like it'll have a bunch of options. So you just got to go like the head page, go to the page directly and then look for those little dots and click it. And there's usually, like I said, settings in there. So
yeah, it'll be like turn on notifications so that anytime like something's posted, you'll get notified. You'll get a notification for it.
Awesome.
So I will post, I might post a couple organic things throughout the week, and then I'll check in with you guys later in the week, like Friday, Saturday, that kind of time. See how things are going.
They can't see you, can they? They can see you.
Oh, Chrissy must be talking to someone else. And then we'll do the call at the same time next week. Next week we're going to, again, like I said, we're going to follow. Be ready to share something. You don't have to share everything. Kids bugging me. You don't have to share everything, but at least have the assignment done to share with me. And then if you feel comfortable sharing with the group, that can be really helpful because we can learn from each other. And then next week I'm going to talk a lot about fears and things that are holding us back. I have one kid laying on the ground next to me staring at me, like, when are you going to be done? And we're also going to talk about excuses. Actually, we're not talking about fears, we're talking about excuses. So, yay. And changing those excuses. So we're going to get some clarity. We're going to learn how to change those excuses around and keep working on those mindset things. Cool. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Not tonight. All right. In the next few weeks, you guys will start feeling comfortable. I'll make sure of it. And feel free to. Anyway. All right. Anyway. I'm like, is Brady behind me and I don't know it? Okay. All right. So that's it for tonight. I will post the assignment in the group in case you didn't write it all down. Get a fresh notebook. Get started on it this week at some point, and then spend some real time on it. All these assignments are not going to be super long. This is probably the longest one. So, and the most important one is really getting a vision of yourself a year from now and be detailed about it. It's kind of like that vision board idea. Be detailed about it, envision it, feel it, what it feels like, what it look like, all of those things, and that's going to help you have some clarity about where you're going. All right. All right, ladies. Well, I will let you go. I will post this recording in the group. I'll listen to it again, and I will talk to you all soon in the group. All right. Bye.
Night.
Computer's slow. There we go.